Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA podcast. This is episode 17 and it's another little bit of a different episode because, as you can see, if you're watching, I am by myself. And this is the second podcast I've had to do completely by myself. If there are any lulls in the podcast for whatever reason, just bear with me because obviously I'm new to this. I'm new to hosting a podcast in general, and I do quite like having someone here to do it with me, just so I can pass the baton of conversation over to them. Let me regather my thoughts so I can get some new ideas flowing and then go again. So when you're doing it by yourself and you're just talking to a camera and you've got nobody to work off, it's a little bit weird at first. But hopefully for all of you guys listening and watching, it doesn't sound too bad. Um, this episode's going to be a little bit different today. Obviously, massive thanks to Ollie for coming on and co-hosting with me earlier on in the week. I hope you all enjoyed the episode with him. I know I did, so thank you very much to him for coming on. Ben is still away sunning himself in sunny Greece. As I sit here, it's sunny, but it's windy to say the least, and we've just had a massive hail or snowstorm just come through, which was weird. So it's not exactly golfing weather, like we're all probably desperate for it to be. But Masters Week coming up very, very soon, as we mentioned. There's going to be lots of build up to that starting next week, which we're looking forward to. Me and Ben are going to tackle that, as well as all the action from both the Hero Indian Open and the Houston Open as well on the PJ Tour. But now, though, we are doing a new sort of episode, a new style of episode, something that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's a deep, deep passion of mine. Um, if I'm being honest, this is sort of where I want my role in the podcast to go. Obviously, when we have Ben on and we talk about all the ongoings on tour, the world of golf, club golf, and stuff like that, I love talking about that. But obviously, as a golf coach and as a PGA professional, you need to be able to have you need to keep that element of professionalism in there. So. For you swing nerds out there, for you fellow pros listening, hopefully there's a good few fellow pros out there that are listening. This one's probably more tailored towards you guys, but then also for you golf swing nerds in general. Doesn't have to be a golf pro or a golf coach to be a golf swing nerd. I know that for a fact. Um, excuse me. You will hopefully also enjoy this one because this is going to be the first episode of a series that we call the Film Room. All right, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, that I make this a weekly podcast, all right? That we go from 2 podcasts a week to 3 podcasts a week. Why? Because I want to, and I want to get loads of episodes out there for you guys to be able to listen to be able to digest. But also because I want to, as I said, the long-term vision for the podcast, me and Ben spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, the goals for the podcast. We want to be able to bring an analytical spin on things that are happening on tour, as well as more of a news slash reporting style of content as well. Um, and yeah, as I said, it's something that I have a fascination with. Tour pros, what are they working on in their game? What are their coaches talking to them about? And even at my level of coaching, okay, you have players that you work with, you have players that you stop working with for whatever reason, and why, what makes a good coach, and where are, just like football, when a manager comes in and takes over a football team and they have instant results, why are they getting instant results? What was different to the person previous? And then learning from that and taking those as myself, this is my job as a golf coach, taking the positives from it, understanding, okay, well, when do we need to pivot from a certain way of thinking with a player and be able to look at, okay, just because this has happened before and worked in the past, a player-led process a lot of the time, when do we have to pivot and change the strategy in which we play the golf to the best play golf to the best of our ability? And that happens on tour all the time, happens at the amateur level all the time, which is sort of what I'm a little bit more tapped into. But if we can work our way up to becoming a high level analyst of top level golf, that would be a goal of mine. And that's something that I want to achieve by doing this podcast selfishly. And hopefully you guys, the point of this is that you guys can learn lots from this as well. So going forward, we're going to pick, hopefully, today's going to be a relatively short episode, but going forward, we're going to pick a series of players and subjects to do with those players. So that might be, why is a player excelling at this certain area of their game, and why is a player decelerating in a certain area of their game? Why do you think it could be that they're struggling? Looking at the technical aspects. And that's going to mean getting our iPad out. And as I said, if you are listening to this, okay, we want to sort of see those views pop up a little bit higher on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who's been watching on YouTube the last few weeks as well. It's been much appreciated. We want to see those views pop up. So this is a little bit more tailored towards you guys. So if you are listening in the car, or listening just out and about, doing whatever you're doing, maybe you're on your run, maybe you are sat doing some work listening to me, just bear in mind that on YouTube, this is probably a little bit of an easier podcast to digest because you can actually see what it is that we're talking about and how it is in today's episode positively impacting this player. Okay? Awesome. Awesome. As I just mentioned, that we've only got really one topic to cover today, but we can dive into it nice and deeply and not take up too much of your time. All right. So it should be a nice, short, sweet podcast that we can all learn from. We're doing this tour level analysis with an eye to look, okay, this is how they're improving as a player, but what can we learn from it? As a professional, but also amateurs, what can we learn from it? And how can it positively impact your game? What are we talking about? And how can it positively make you a better golfer? So that's important as well. Who are we talking about today then? We're talking about Matt Fitzpatrick, okay? For those of you English listeners out there, which most of you are, I appreciate not all of you. For most of you listeners out there, we're all English. Maybe some of you might say that you're Welsh. I don't know. But we're all English, and Matt Fitzpatrick is probably our hottest in form player from our part of the world. Our best homegrown player, Matt Fitzpatrick, had a fantastic last couple of weeks, hasn't he? Second at the Players, narrowly missed out, and then a win at the Valspar. To finish second like that and then bounce back, come straight back to win, says a lot about the character. And we could do a whole different podcast about the mental side of Matt Fitzpatrick's game, how he logs every shot that he hits and the reasons why he does that. I saw a really, really good post again from James Berry. If you haven't followed James on Instagram, James .berry1 or jamesberry.1, I think it is, on Instagram, go and follow him because it's a fantastic post regarding that, and makes a lot of sense as well. But yeah, he's had a fantastic couple of weeks. But where has he jumped up the most? What is the area in his game that has excelled and improved the most in the last couple of months and couple of years? That's his approach play. Okay, what's the first thing? What's the first thing that we think of when we think of Matt Fitzpatrick? Is putting. Yeah, it's making putts from long range, being incredibly clutch from inside 8-10 foot. Okay, his putting's always been a strong point. Like anything in golf, when you're strong at something, it means that another area of your game might be a little bit underwhelming. One of the biggest instances of this, and I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, is when people come to me and they go, "Oh, I've had 36 putts today," or 38 putts. Sometimes that means that you're hitting a load of greens, which can be positive. I always remember Jordan Spieth. I remember him having 21 putts in one round once, and obviously he went incredibly deep in that round of golf. I'm not saying that he didn't, but 21 putts. That basically means that he would have needed to make about 15 birdies, assuming he'd hit every green in regulation. He didn't make 15 birdies, so it tells you that his greens in regulation, his approach play stats, like Matt Fitzpatrick's was probably a bit underwhelming. A lot of up and downs in there, and obviously your mid and long range birdie putts in there as well. So, as with all aspects of our game, we have to analyse, okay, well, if I'm really good at this, does it mean that another area of my game linked to that area is underwhelming? So you've always got to be in that evaluation process as a player. And that's what Matt Fitzpatrick's done. So Matt Fitzpatrick's putting has probably had to be so good because his approach play into greens has not been his strong point. Off the tee, he's always been relatively strong. For a guy that's not that big, he's not that much taller than me, Matt Fitzpatrick, and those of you who know me will be quick to remind me that I'm not the tallest guy out there in the world, but he's definitely thinner than me. So overall, he's probably a lighter human being than me. Got really, really long arms, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But he can sling the ball out there a nice long way. Those long arms, according to his coach Mark Blackburn, And those of you who might have seen the post that Golf Digest, I want to say, put up, or Dan Rappaport put up, Mark Blackburn, Matt Fitzpatrick's coach, and has been his coach for coming up to a year now, did a great interview with Dan Rappaport talking about how he improved his iron play. And it's going to be very, very in tune with what we spoke about today, except we're going to give you some visual guidance as to how that's improved his game. But Mark Blackburn talked about his arm length and how it's a fantastic attribute to have for creating swing speed and establishing a little bit more distance on the golf course, but not the best when it comes to approach play and quality of strike as well. You've got to really monitor your length of arms if they are disproportionately long, which Matt Fitzpatrick's are. So that's something that he's really looked to improve, and clearly he's had fantastic results. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of a deep dive now. If you guys are watching and you're wondering why I keep looking down to my left, obviously I've got all my notes here, so I'd love to be able to do all this just completely unprompted and make total sense, but I've got to have some element of structure to today's podcast. So if you keep wondering why I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. And then also I've got my iPad here, okay? And we are going to take a bit of a deep dive into Matt Fitzpatrick's swing, the changes that he's made, and how it's positively impacted his game, okay? When we're working with the iPad, what I'll do is I will screen record it, and I will overlay it on the screen that is in front of you as well. So you guys can have a nice watch of that, and you don't need to watch me looking down facing my iPad and doing all that, okay? But let's talk about Matt Fitzpatrick's approach play and how he's improved it, okay? So the first thing that he's worked on with his coach, Mark Blackburn, who's #1 ranked coach now over in America, which fantastic, and it really good things coming, out of from their camp in general, and he's a fantastic coach to go and listen to. Really making sure that it's pattern based golf coaching, and how do patterns in the body match up during the golf swing. That's really important as a coach to be able to prioritize. But let's talk about what he's done with Matt Fitzpatrick specifically. He's improved his posture. First things first, okay? So for those of you eagle-eyed watchers out there, I saw a post. I can't remember exactly who posted it. I'll go and find it after I've recorded this podcast. He's got a very new pre-shot routine, okay? And what you'll see him do is he's pinching his shoulders back before he sets up to the golf ball. There's a reason for that. He's physically trying to make his arm length shorter, okay? And he's trying to stand a bit more upright with his spine angle at setup, all right? So when his spine angle's too over the golf ball, you're exposing that extra arm length down into the back of the ball. And something that Fitzpatrick noted last year was the quality of strike, and in particular, his depth through impact, which basically means where is the low point getting its deepest? How deep is the low point going, the club is going, relative to the surface of the ground? It's going too deep, okay? And on top of that, as someone who has always liked to play a draw, okay, Matt Fitzpatrick's always preferred that right to left ball flight. If your depth through impact is too deep and your path is a little from the inside, that's going to create some heavy strikes, and it's also going to create some strikes off the top of the face that are going to come out with very little spin. And when we're working with no spin coming into greens, especially at tour level, with them being as fast and as dry as they are, it's going to lead to very little control and very much just it's going to lead to a weakness in your game, which Fitzpatrick's seen. Okay, so he needs to improve the quality of the strike. So we spoke about that pinching the shoulders back. That's really big because it fixes your arms into a position that's a lot shorter. Okay, that club and that low point is probably going to come up a little bit higher, all right, than it used to be. And it means that he can strike a little bit lower down on the face, produce more spin, okay, and everyone's a winner from there, all right? So really important that we remember that pre-shot routine as a base to some of the things that he's worked on, okay? Now, off the back of that setup change, it means that the body has to work a lot differently mechanically, all right? The body has to move different patterns, it needs to prioritize which parts of the body move faster and before others, if that makes sense, okay? And specifically, we're going to talk about the lower body with Matt Fitzpatrick today. And that's where we're going to go to the iPad now, okay? So we will flick over to the iPad now, and I will put up what's on my screen, on your screen, right now for you. Let's do a deep dive into Matt Fitzpatrick's changes with his mid to short iron play. Okay then, so you join me on my iPad. Welcome. It's a great thing. It's a great place to be. Okay then, so here we have almost the poster shot for why Matt Fitzpatrick probably needed to refine his iron play. All right. Now this is from his final round in his successful 2022 US Open victory. All right, and campaign. So here we have almost the perfect shot to explain why his approach play needed to improve. We've got 158 yards down the hill on the sixth hole. He's got a 9-iron in his hand, and the pin is tucked on that right side, close to that right bunker that you can see there. Okay. Now, a fader of the golf ball licking his lips here because they're starting it on the left side of the green and they're working it back towards the flag, knowing that every second it's in the air, it's going to get closer to the pin, and therefore you can also avert danger, because if it doesn't, then you're pretty much safe in the centre of the green. Now, it doesn't set up for a draw of the golf ball, at which time Matt Fitzpatrick was. But what we're going to do is we're just going to play this shot through, we're going to watch it, and see where it ends up relative to the flag, okay? And there we go. So we can see the ball fly, a little bit of curvature, all right? By the time it lands, we have 6 foot of curvature, and it is going to come to rest, obviously firm greens, US Open, but it still hasn't come to rest. There we go. Okay, bang. So we would probably say we're about 50 foot away from the flag there. 50 foot long left, about 10 yards long, 15 yards long maybe, and 10 yards left of his intended target probably. Okay, as always, right-handers, when we miss it left, we've shut the face, we've reduced spin, and we'll always miss it on average a little bit further than we probably would have wanted to. All right, so that is not a surprise. But that miss there, whilst not looking like the worst shot in the world to the naked eye, to his capabilities and to his standards, he probably wouldn't have been loving a shot like that. Okay, so let's take it back to the top as to why shots like this happen. Okay, now something that Mark Blackburn really emphasized was that when he gets to the top of his backswing here, okay, they needed to make more of a focus, and they needed to put more of a focus on moving the body rotationally, the lower body specifically, more rotationally and less laterally. What do we mean? Well, when we get to the top of the swing here, that laid off position, that's quite a strong position for a player to have, and it's going to usually result in a slightly closed club face. So that's what we've seen on this shot here. But when the body moves towards the target, I'm just putting a very badly drawn arrow in there. When the body slides towards the target, the analogy I use for this is, imagine, in table football, yeah, and you've got those guys that you obviously can twist, and then you've got them to push them left or right, yeah. When you get to the top of the swing, you've got to imagine you're on a table football stick and you're sliding towards the target. Yeah, your body isn't spinning, rotating, it's just sliding. That's going to result in the hands and the arms dropping behind the body, okay? And therefore the club from that laid off position especially is going to get stuck behind the hands there. So it's very difficult to see, but you can see that club is behind the hands there. And that's going to create an into-out path. All right, and that's going to help the ball move from right to left. Okay, and that's obviously something that he probably was looking to get rid of. All right, now when we're looking to produce more spin, okay, the club face needs to be more open to help us produce more spin. That's a big thing, but also the path needs to be a lot squarer. So what needs to happen as a result? Well, the body needs to rotate a lot faster. Okay, at the top of that backswing, that lower body, the hips need to release a lot faster, and that was his big point of emphasis from that position, especially after getting a little bit taller, because getting taller and then not rotating enough is going to create even more of a shallow impact position and even more right to left misses. So it's a massive emphasis now for Matt Fitzpatrick, and has been, on rotating his hips when he gets to the top of his backswing. So let's have a little look now at why that was so difficult and has been so difficult for him, okay, and would have been so difficult for him at first, okay. This is a drill that you got Mark Blackburn here on the right, okay? This is a drill that he has been doing, and we're going to just play it through full speed here now. Okay, I hate the way the camera moves here in this video that we've got here. All right. This is from Luke Kerdanine as well. Okay. So you've got that left foot moving out the way there. Now we're going to talk about that drill in just a moment. Now I just want to stop it here, okay, at the top of the backswing. Again, we've still got the trademark laid off position here. I just want you to pay attention to how much the hips have turned on the way back, okay? Now, this is why Matt Fitzpatrick takes the club on the inside, probably so violently, okay, is because his hip turn on the way back, just like the tempo of his swing, is really quick, really violent. The golf swing's a game of opposites, okay? If you rotate your hips and your body really, really far on the way back, guess what? It's going to be really, really hard to release those same body parts on the way through, okay? Now, you're probably thinking, oh, this looks normal. This is what you should do. This is what my golf coach has told me to do, turn my body, okay? I want you to just have a look at the straightness of his right leg, the locked out nature of his right leg there, okay? This is not as standard as you'd seen. This is a unique position, okay? Now, to show you this and to highlight this, we are going to compare it with Justin Rose, who we've got here. Justin Rose here on the left. Let's take Justin to the top of his backswing. Here he is. And let's put Matt Fitzpatrick at the top of his backswing. So I just want you to pay attention here now to the difference in flexion of the right leg, okay? Justin Rose here now, with less hip turn, doesn't need to worry about that club getting stuck ridiculously behind him. In fact, that's a point of emphasis in his swing, is to make sure he gets shallow enough on the way down. Okay, for Matt Fitzpatrick, who struggles with a left miss or has struggled with a left miss, reduced spin, right to left ball flight, this locked out right leg makes it more difficult for him to rotate his lower body through impact. So I just wanted to put that up there as a sort of side by side to go, okay, that is an abnormal level of lower body turn on the way back, okay, and makes it even more difficult for him to achieve what he wants to achieve in his transition, okay. So bringing it back to what we spoke about, okay, so we know now that Matt Fitzpatrick is working on getting from this position to the top, okay? We talked about his posture, a bit more upright, shoulders back, okay? Spine angle a little bit taller. But from this position here, he is really looking to get these hips turning and rotating as fast as possible, because that then is going to help him get the club and the hands, draw a bit of a better line, more square to this nice neutral line that I've drawn from the hands to the ball, okay? So let's see in this drill how well he does it, okay? He is going to, and to be fair, we haven't quite got to the top of the backswing, so I'm going to go and redraw that line. There we go. Okay, so let's see how well he does this now in transition, okay? He's going to rotate, 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 rotate. Look at those hips, look at those hips. Bang, there we go. And look at that position there now, okay? His club now is perfectly level with the hands at impact, okay? I want you to pay attention to how much of his scorecard holder you can see at this delivery position, okay? You would see a lot less of his scorecard holder if he hadn't have put such an emphasis on that hip turn. You can almost read it, yeah, it's like a square line, okay? If I draw a perfect line there, yeah, you can almost read it, it's like a lined piece of paper. That is a result of his hips clearing fantastically. And if we play this through, the camera angle is going to change a little bit, but watch how him and his coach are working on throwing his left foot back behind him, and his body's almost fully rotated through impact there, okay? That is stopping him from getting the club trapped behind him on the way down, okay? And this is massively important, okay? Because if we compare this back now to old Matt Fitzpatrick, and if we put them side by side and look in comparison here, okay? We've got old Matt Fitzpatrick on the left and new Matt Fitzpatrick on the right, okay? Now, as we look at this, there doesn't look too much different. The club here on the left shot is a little bit more behind than what is here on the right. We're a lot more square to the hands at halfway down. But the biggest thing, and this is what I love about analysing these little things, if we put this onto the delivery position, sorry, the impact position, if we compare both impact positions here now, okay, the most minuscule of difference that you'll see, I want you to pay attention here now. Look at the gap between Matt Fitzpatrick's right elbow and his body from this shot compared to the old US Open shot. Okay, look how his right elbow is really connected with his body at impact in the old swing versus there's probably an inch and a half gap in the new swing. And it's that connection that was killing him in the old swing where that club was too close inside to his body, swinging out to the right and causing him to flip the club over. Reduced spin, poor contacts, you name it, versus on the left, clearing the lower body out of the way and actually creating a little bit of space for his arms to travel, and arms and hands to travel across the ball on the video on the right in the new swing. It's that inch and a half of difference that takes 5-6 months of working out. Okay, but as a result, there now you can see on the right the ball launching a lot higher. I know you very hard to see, but launching a lot higher, a lot more spin, more neutral with the ball flight. And the good news for Matt Fitzpatrick is naturally he can move that ball from right to left. So now, as much as I don't campaign for being able to shape the ball both ways on the golf course, he's at least got the ability to go, okay, well, kind of what feels natural to me might turn the ball over a little bit. Good for back into the wind on a very blowy day, or wind off the left, that might suit him a little bit better. But on a nice still day, on a dry, burnt out PGA Tour layout, he's now got the ability to launch the ball a lot higher, as I said, with a lot less curvature. And the proof's in the pudding, because if we look at last weekend, okay, a couple of the shots that he hit down the stretch were absolutely fantastic. All right, you look at the shot into 15, all right, at a Copperhead course at Innisbrook last weekend. 9-iron, very similar to the shot that we've just got here from the US Open, but burnt out golf course, landing in on a dime. It rolled out ridiculous, but he hit it with a bit of fade to a right pin. Okay, drained the putt, long putt, obviously like he does, but absolutely fantastic. Same on 17. Pin tucked away on the right. He hit a 4-iron, baby fade in there, pin high. Should have made the putt. The proof is in the pudding down the stretch. That approach play is absolutely night and day. And he is now up to 7th in strokes gained tee to green, Matt Fitzpatrick. Approach play, strokes gained, excuse me. Okay, he's up to 7th. Whereas in the middle of 2022, I don't think he would have been anywhere near 7th. I think he would have been down the middle of the field on the PGA Tour in approach play statistics. So that has helped complement his putting. He'll be a lot more confident and have a lot more chances to make birdie out on the golf course, and a lot more chances to convert and climb the leaderboard. So what can we learn from this? I want you to think about, okay, do I miss the ball too far to the right? Okay. If you do, this sort of swing might not be, and this sort of thing that we spoke about here today might not be too applicable to you. Okay. As always, when we're doing this swing analysis and we're in the film room like we are today, go and get a golf lesson to talk about, okay, how is my lower body rotating? Is it turning enough on the way back? Is it turning adequately? All right. And is it releasing fast enough on the way down? Okay. There's a big translation between, okay, the timing of which our lower body opens up and then releases on the way through, matching to the ball flight. Okay. Now, if you're someone who misses the ball to the left, hooks, hits it low, it's definitely worth bearing in mind this little thing that Matt Fitzpatrick's working on with a bit of a taller posture, okay, which helps him, and then really making sure that his lower body rotates really fast through impact and in the transition. As always with these sorts of things, go to your local golf pro, okay? Go and get a golf lesson to see if this thing that we spoke about here, this aspect of the golf swing, is applicable to your swing in order to make you hit the ball better. Okay, but might just be worth thinking about if you are someone who misses the ball low, left, with any club for that matter, even driver. Okay, that hip turn, that hip release is massively important. That is episode 1 of the film room. Okay, now that could have been absolutely all over the place. All over the place. It could have been rushed, it could have been botched, it could have made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Hopefully, we have put this in a way where the iPad screen that I had there will be over the screen that you've got and you are watching now. For those of you listening, okay, that might have been a whole load of words that made no sense to you whatsoever, okay? But hopefully with the video on YouTube, you can understand what we spoke about there. And I love doing little deep dives like that because now when you watch Matt Fitzpatrick hit a nice little baby fade into a green with a 7-iron, okay, you look at Augusta, what holes, okay, you'd actually probably suit him a little bit more to turn the ball from right to left at Augusta, but he's going to need to hold the greens. Approach play at Augusta, they're going to be fast, they're going to be sloping, there's going to be loads of runoffs, okay, there's going to be chance for him there. I mean, you think of the approach into 10. You think of the ball above your feet, that ability to release your hips a lot faster. That's going to help him hold the ball up against the slope really, really well. So when you see Matt Fitzpatrick hit a little baby fade into a green 16, approaching to 16, holding it up against the hill there, that's going to be massive. You could think back to our little deep dive in the film room that we've done today, and think, okay, that's what he's working on the range right now, and it's coming into good effect. 7th strokes gained in approach play. Now, Matt Fitzpatrick, very, very good. Okay, then. That is the late podcast for the week done. As I said, hopefully we get one of these per week, and I will figure out which day of the week it will come to you. Okay, but with a bit of luck, we might go up to 3 podcasts a week moving forward, especially into Masters and Major season. That is fast approaching, and I'm massively looking forward to it. Better film room podcasts coming up. That is the first one out of the way. I've done it by myself. All of these will be by myself, so I will make sure to get these a little bit better moving forward. But for those of you listening and for those of you watching, thank you very much for doing so. We hope you have a fantastic weekend, and fingers crossed the weather's good enough for you to go out there and play a bit of golf this weekend. We're looking forward to hearing from you and how you played, how your golf is going this year. We're going to get back into listener interaction via emails, etc, etc. We're looking forward to that, especially for Masters as well, which we've just said. Okay, thank you very much. We will leave it there, and we will catch you next time.